Guess what? A glove just shook up the NASCAR world big time. Yeah, you heard me. A driving glove. Joey Logano, Racing Zone speed wizard, tried to pull a fast one with some sneaky glove modifications. And boy, did it cause a stir. Stay tuned to NASCAR Zone because we're about to dive into how this glove gate is just the tip of the iceberg in a world where pushing limits is the name of the game. Curious about the wildest tricks and penalties in NASCAR history? Well, before we jump, hit that subscribe button. This precision-driven environment is where Joey Logano, a name synonymous with tenacity and triumph on the circuit, recently found himself in the spotlight not for a race-winning move, but for a controversy that has stirred the NASCAR community. As a seasoned driver for Team Penske, Logano's competitive spirit and quest for victory have often set him apart. However, ahead of the Am Better Health 400 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, an event marked by roaring engines and the sheer will to win, Logano encountered a different kind of challenge, a penalty that would test not just his resolve, but the ethical boundaries of innovation in motorsport. So, Joey Logano, right? This guy is kind of a big deal in the NASCAR universe. He's been around the track a few times, well, okay, more than just a few, and he's not just making up the numbers. Logano's the dude who snagged the 2018 NASCAR Cup Series championship, which is no small feat. It's like being the MVP in the Super Bowl, or hitting a grand slam in the World Series. Plus, he's racked up a pretty impressive list of wins and podium finishes over the years, making him one of the faces you think of when someone says NASCAR. Now on to Team Penske. If NASCAR had a royal family, Team Penske would be sitting pretty close to the throne. Founded by Roger Penske, a legend in his own right, this team is the stuff of motorsport lore. They've got their fingers in pretty much every racing pie there is, from IndyCar to NASCAR and beyond. When it comes to Team Penske, we're talking about a top-tier operation with a trophy cabinet so stuffed it would make even the most decorated athletes blush. They're known for their precision, professionalism, and a knack for turning fast cars into race winners and champions. Putting Logano and Team Penske together is like mixing dynamite with a match, explosive and bound to grab your attention. They're a powerhouse combo that's all about pushing the limits, nabbing checkered flags, and etching their names into the racing history books. So, when something as eyebrow-raising as a glove modification comes up, you bet it's going to make waves. But hey, that's racing for you. Always fast, always furious, and never without a bit of drama. The whole situation with Joey Logano's glove was quite straightforward, but definitely unusual in the NASCAR world. Logano and his team decided to modify one of the driving gloves by adding webbing between the thumb and index finger. The purpose behind this modification wasn't just for style or comfort, it was strategic. The added webbing was intended to deflect air away from the car's window when Logano stuck his hand out, potentially giving him a slight aerodynamic advantage during the race. In the precision-focused world of NASCAR, even a tiny edge can make a significant difference. NASCAR, in their usual no-nonsense style, wasn't just going to let this slide. They've got rules for days, and safety gear is no joking matter. Elton Sawyer, NASCAR's Senior Vice President of Competition, laid down the law. He made it clear that while drivers sticking their hands out of the window isn't usually a big deal, turning a piece of safety equipment into a makeshift aerodynamic aid is crossing the line.
If you just take exactly what happened at the racetrack from a competition perspective and trying to, enhance the performance on the racetrack, obviously we see time and time again at super speedways and other events where the drivers will stick their hand out the window. That's not something that we've been all that alarmed about. When you take it to the level that you have modified one of the safety, some of the safety equipment, gloves in particular, and then using that, so the penalty at the racetrack was based off that. So we disallowed the qualifying time, put the 22 to the back, and then also had them perform a pass-through penalty under green. Now, the next step of that is when you look at safety equipment, and we look at this very hard, we look at this, take it very seriously. There's been numerous meetings over time about safety of the car and the equipment and the drivers. And when you take and alter that, that will be something that we will discuss today if it needs to have additional penalty added to that. But the reason I want to be really clear on that is that what happened at the racetrack and the way it was handled was strictly based on performance and using that device. Now, altering a SFI certified safety piece of apparel, that's a different topic that we'll discuss today.
But before we continue, kindly make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for each and every update. Despite all this drama, the penalty at the Atlanta race turned out to be a bit of a non-issue for Logano in terms of race performance. Thanks to a conveniently timed caution right after he served his pass-through penalty, he was back on the lead lap in no time. And true to form, Logano didn't let the setback keep him down. He charged through the field, leading for 27 laps, and showing that even starting from the back, couldn't keep a good driver down. However, Logano's luck didn't hold up. An ill-advised block later in the race led to a wreck, tangling up with Chris Buescher and Denny Hamlin, and ultimately, Logano had to settle for a 28th place finish. The incident, combined with a disappointing performance at the Daytona 500 the week before, meant Logano's 2024 season was off to a rough start. He was in desperate need of a rebound, and with Las Vegas next on the schedule, all eyes were on him to turn his fortunes around. The penalty for the glove modification, while not affecting his points, could have broader implications for Logano's reputation, the dynamics within Team Penske, and their approach to future races. In terms of reputation, Logano is known for pushing the limits, a trait that has earned him both admiration and criticism. This incident reinforces that image, possibly leading to increased scrutiny from both NASCAR officials and his peers on the track. It's a reminder that innovation is welcome, but within the boundaries set by the sport's governing body. For Team Penske, this situation might prompt a reassessment of how they balance innovation with compliance. The team's willingness to explore every possible advantage is well documented, but incidents like this could lead to more conservative strategies, at least in areas directly related to safety equipment. The last thing they'd want is for their competitive spirit to be dampened by penalties or for their reputation for excellence to be marred by controversies. Joey Logano's glove modification incident is just the latest chapter in a long story of teams and drivers trying to outsmart the competition and sometimes the rule book. Take the infamous T-Rex car Jeff Gordon drove to victory in 1997 at the All-Star race. His team, led by the legendary Ray Evernham, built a car that was so advanced and so dominant that NASCAR basically said, "Yeah, that was cool, but never again," and banned it right after the race. The car didn't technically break the rules, it just bent them so much they looked like a pretzel. So that's all for this video. Hit that subscribe button for more NASCAR updates.